In this video, we learn how to pass markup using slots. So markup is nothing, it's basically a HTML template. So slot is useful to pass HTML markup into another component. So if we have to pass HTML from one component to another component, we use slot, and the slot markup is used to catch the HTML passed by the parent component. You can't pass an Aura component into the slot. There are two types of slot, name slot and the unnamed slot. When a name attribute is defined in a slot element like this, slot tag, the name and some name value, then we call it as a name slot. When a slot without a name attribute, we call it as an unnamed slot. So we have seen till now how to pass the data from parent to child. Now we will see how we can pass HTML from parent to child. And this is one of the important concept to understand the reusable Lightning Web Component. So let's go and first try to understand what is slot, how slot looks like, how name slot works, and how unnamed slot works. So let's go to our VS Code. Let's create a component. We'll give this name slot parent demo, and we'll create another component with the name slot child demo. Now we have a parent component and the child component. Let's add some markup in our parent HTML. Quickly create a card. We'll give this title. We'll say parent component, or I'll say this dot demos, and within this we're gonna embed our child component, that is c hyphen slot hyphen child hyphen demo. The component has been embedded in the parent component. Let's add some text to the child component. We'll say, hey, I am child, and let's go and deploy our both components. So before that we have to change the configuration. I'll change is exposed to true and target to app page, and let's deploy and place this component into page. I am in the components communication page. Let's edit this page. Let's search for our component name slot. I'll drag this slot parent demo to the center area, and I'll hit save. Let's go back, and now it's loading our child components perfectly. Let's go to our VS Code. Let's give some padding around the child component. For that we'll say div class slds padding around underscore medium, and we'll wrap our child component with these tags. Now we already seen our component is loading perfectly and our child component is loading perfectly. Let's tweak something in the child component. I'll say, what is your name? That's the template, and I want the answer should come here from the parent. So I want my parent to pass some data in between these tags, and that should render here just below it. And to solve this problem, we come across the slots. So for that, I'll say within the div, some data should come from the parent, and I'll create a slot here, slot tag, that will tell to the component something can come between the tags from the parent. The child component, we are creating the slot. Now we'll go to the parent component, and within the child tags, child component tags, that is sleep hyphen slot hyphen child demo. I'll say I'll create a p tag and say I am my name is Salesforce. So now he is passing the HTML or a markup to a child component, and once it will come to the child component, while the child component is rendering, it will see is there any slot tag there. Yes, it will replace the slot tag with the p tag that is coming from the parent. So let's deploy and see if it's printing or not. So these slots, we called it as unnamed slot. These are unnamed slots because here we are not mentioning what's the name of this slot. So name attribute is not there, so it means it's a unnamed slot. So it's deployed. Let's go and refresh the page. Now this was my question, what is your name, and it's saying my name is Salesforce 2. And if I inspect this and I'll go to the element tag, now you see in the div we were asking what is your name. After we have another div, we have slot, and now p tag is rendering between the slots. So this is how it works. Let's go. Now the requirement is there should be another question, and the another question is what is your age. So we'll create another question here first. If what is your age, and we want the parent to pass something that will come here. So let's see what will happen if I create another slot. Okay, now I'm creating two slots, and I want the first answer should come here and second answer should come here. And let's go to the parent and pass something. So I'll add another p tag, and I'll say my age is 25, and we'll add some color to differentiate the answer. So I'll for the first p tag I'm giving a class SLDS text color success. It will give me a green color, and I'll give another class to a p tag with age SLDS text color error, so it will give me a red color of text. So now we are passing two p tags, and we have two slots in our HTML. One is after first question and the second one is after second question. We already have seen when we pass one p tag, it will render here in between these slots. Now let's see what will happen in this scenario. I have deployed the component. Let's go and refresh the page. And now you see the question is coming, what is your name? My name is Salesforce Group. My age is 25. Then the second question is coming, what is your age? My name is Salesforce Group and my age is 25. So the problem here is whatever you are passing from the parent, it's rendering everything under the slots again and again. So if we have three slots, it will render these details three times. But that's not what we want. We want the my age only comes under the question, what is your age? And my name is Salesforce comes only once under what is your name question. Here the concept of name slot comes. So let's go and see how name slots work. So now my parent don't know where I should render this, right? It will just pass it and automatically search for the slot and it will render it. But what if we guide him? You should go and set in a particular place. For that, in the parent will set, you go to the slot with the name, username, or we'll say first question first, wherever the slot name is first. And in the second, we'll say wherever the slot name is second, you just go there. And now we have defined this attribute in the parent. Now we'll go to the child and guide our slot and give our slot a name. Basically, we'll say this slot name is second and this slot name is first, and the slot with the name attribute is called named slot. And this is helpful when you want to place the tags at a particular location from the parents. So now we want the named p tag should only come for first div or first slot, and the age p tag should come for the second slot. So let's deploy and see if it works or not. And this is one of the very important topic for creating a reusable component at large scale. And in the future video we'll see, I'll teach you how to create a reusable component using slots. Now it's deployed. Let's refresh and see whether our p tag is placing at the correct location or not. Now you can see that based on the name it's placing at the right position, and it's placing only once, not twice. So that's how our name slot works. So in the slot we have only two types of slot, a name slot and the name slot. If you have a requirement just to render everything once, go with the unnamed slot. But if you have to place the content at a specific location, then go with the named slot. Now we have another requirement. We want some footer in this card. Okay, so what we're gonna do is let's go and create a footer. So let's go to a child HTML and we'll say footer class LDS card underscore footer, and here the slot will be in name slot footer, and in the parent tag I'll pass something to the footer. Say dot footer pass I am footer. Let's see whether the footer tag is rendering properly or not. Let's deploy. So now it's deployed. Let's refresh the page, and now you can see that there is line is coming and it's saying I am footer. So it's working fine now. But at one point of time my parents said, for a particular scenario I don't want to pass anything in the footer. Okay, and let's see if it still render the footer or not. Let's deploy and we go and refresh the page, and if you go you will see the space is still coming, the line is still coming. But you might think, why not we go to the child component and replace this thing if we don't want at all. But now we have a requirement in which we want our card to be rendered twice, like our child component to be rendered twice. In the first we want the footer to be there, in the second we should not show the footer. Let's deploy and see how it looks. Deployed. Let's see now. Now it's rendering, the footer is coming perfectly fine. But in the second component, you see we have unnecessarily null and the space. I don't want this. I want a scenario when there is no footer passed from the parent. This line should not be visible. So to solve this issue, we will go to the method provided by the slot. Let's go to the child component. We'll say first hide the footer by default. So this is the class that will hide the footer by default. And then we will place a function or a method to a slot that name is onSlotChange. This method will get called up whenever something comes in the slot. Okay, so we'll say handle footer change. So for the first one, it will call this. For the second one, it will not call because nothing is coming from the parent. So for the first one, whenever it's called, we have to create that method. We'll call this method. It will say something has been inserted into the slot or something is coming for the slot. So for that, what we're going to do is we'll say const footer element equal to this dot template dot query selector, and we'll give the class LTS footer. We'll call this element footer element, and we fetch the instance of that footer element, and we'll say if footer element is available, then go to the footer element class list and remove the hide class that we have by default. So what will happen is, for the first time when the footer is available, it will call the onSlot change method. It will come here and it will remove the SLDS hide class and the footer will be visible. For the second component, when the footer is not available, it will remain SLDS hide class will be there. There is nothing inserted, so it will not call and the footer will not be visible. So let's deploy and see if it works or not. And it's deployed. Let's go and refresh the page. And now you can see that with the first component is showing the footer, with the second component we don't have a footer, so it's not showing the line or not the text. So that's how the slot works, and that's how our on slot change work. And these three topics with the like name slot, unnamed slot and on slot change, I'll show you how we can build a very bigger reusable component. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.